That was the beginning of gastroenterology in Western Canada. He truly was the guy who started all that stuff.
It's a powerhouse in Canada. People have gone through the program and have become very prominent elsewhere.
Introduced gastroenterology as a major field.
I was born in Vegreville in 1927, so my childhood was spent through the Depression. There was an awful lot of poverty and people on relief, and it was a tough time. I became interested in journalism, so I ran the school newspaper and almost became a journalist. I worked for the old Edmonton Bulletin after I came to college. Was the campus correspondent, so I decided to work for the Gateway. And so I had 44 hours a week of classes, ran a newspaper which published twice a week. The Bulletin made me the music and drama critic so that I had a part-time job at night.
You couldn't make any money as a journalist in the late 40s, early 50s. I mean, you just couldn't do it. You got paid $50 a month, and that was it. So he loved the work, but it just didn't pay enough. And as a child of the Depression,
I decided to go into medicine instead of journalism. Working for the newspaper business, I was interviewing people all the time, so that I learned to take a very good medical history. Out here in Western Canada, we had kind of primitive medicine. But the teaching in gastroenterology was so poor because nobody was really interested in it. There was no successful treatment for many of the gastroenterological diseases.
He was one of the first guys, certainly ever in this district, to go away. He went to Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit to learn some gastroenterology, and he came back.
I ask the patients to keep their hands by their sides, because if the hands
Remember,
are up
we're
this
talking
way,
back when there was no CT scan, no MRI scan, no ultrasound, and not half the blood tests we have now. You listened, you examined, you questioned.
Dad said, it's like being Sherlock Holmes, because anything from here down to your nether regions, it could be anything. And so he said, it's like being a detective.
It was true clinical medicine, and he was very skilled. He and Ron Wetzel decided to have a division of gastroenterology.
It was so busy that it was unbelievable. It covered all of Alberta, northeastern British Columbia, western Saskatchewan, and the Yukon and Northwest Territories.
Sometimes got, so busy that he would sleep at the office.
He wasn't always on time.
We would wait for hours for the man, and I always felt so bad for the patients, but the patients always told me that he was so worth their while.
He was interested. He wasn't seeing you because he had to have it done in a hurry. He was interested in looking after you, finding out what was the matter, and making you better.
When you walked in the door with him and he closed the door behind you, it was all about you.
I think he saw his patients well into his 80s. Same style, they'd be booked at 2 o'clock, he'd show up at 4 o'clock, and 10 o'clock he's still there.
Age is not an impediment. He's writing a book right now. I think it's going to be fascinating. He'll be 95 in April, still cranking away.
He's just a man that everybody should have met once in their lifetime.